Te reo ererangi o te mānia. This episode was produced in Otatahi by Plains Media, with support from New Zealand On Air.
Today, the oceans hold their breath as we journey into Ringlet and the Day the Oceans Stop, by Felicity Williams, published by Ahoy, an imprint of the Cuba Press in 2019. Join Libby as waves of mystery, courage and wonder sweep us into an unforgettable adventure. And was it her imagination, or had it winked at her? Impossible. Thrones can't wink. Can they? She looked at the fish. She looked at the barnacle, who was looking confused. Then she turned to Cumulus Allweather. I don't know where my home is, but this Dullars Ditchwater place certainly isn't it. And that throne is dodgy, wobbly, and shifty-eyed. The thing that was pushing around the corner of her mind emerged. It lay there like a small marble. The third amnesic wave isn't like the others, cautioned Cumulus. You won't even know it's been and gone. It works on the subconscious level, feelings and that sort of stuff. She shivered. Something inside her mind was shifting. The marble thing in there swelled and grew ever so slightly bigger. Wishing he had never left his desk, Cumulus continued, You only have minutes before the third amnesic wave arrives, after which you join the daisies and swim in a circle all day and all night for the rest of your life. He hoped he wasn't overdoing it, but he was already behind schedule, and he did not want his maps cluttered up with an unidentified newcomer and a tumulus of unusually large lollipops. He had to move her on. Cumulus could see a bleakness begin to invade the outer corners of the mermaid's eyes. He did not consider himself emotional, but right now something in him stirred. He watched as she swam down and fixed her position by the ancient exit current. Tell me this then, called Cumulus. What's your name? How old are you? And who didn't tidy up after themselves? He pointed to the trail of lollipops that stretched out behind them. That's easy, she said. I'm Princess. She squeezed her eyes shut. The answers were there. She reached out to grab them, but the bilgy yellow water inside her mind was quicker and more devious. With an unpleasant smirk, it swept away names, and it was about to sweep away all 10 volumes of Laws Against Littering the Ocean. When, wait! Her voice sounded coarse and unmermaid-like, as if it had forgotten how to be a voice. The greedy, untidy one, she thought. Me? She scrambled down and gathered up the lollipops that were lying in the pile. One handful will have to do. At least I've tried. They are, after all, unusually large. She squashed them into her handbag, along with a mottled green starfish, and snapped the clasps shut. Then she swam as fast as she could to the throne. She felt that her mind was about to explode, and that, if it did, it would be very messy. She grabbed the cabriole legs, hauled herself onto the seat, gripping the armrests, and waited. The marble in her mind made a loud, grating noise and grew even larger. Go away. I'm trying to concentrate on important things, like what to do next. Below her, she could see someone scribbling, and he was surrounded by fish. What is that merman doing? And who are those fish? She heard an urgent-sounding yapping, pushing through the fish fins. flew a small, fluffy creature with a seashell tail. She gasped, "The cutest thing," and watched as the creature hit the claw and ball foot with a whump and then bounced backwards, bobbing helplessly. "Don't even think about it." "Oh, do shut up. There's plenty of time." She kicked off from the cabriole legs and went plummeting down. The marble in her mind cracked open. She grabbed the creature, heaved it round her shoulders, and turned back to the throne. Outside of her, everything grew dim, and at the extreme edge of the sea, she could see a ghostly wave charging towards her. The wave stretched the entire width of the sea and had no beginning, no end. Inside her mind, out of the cracks in the marble, oozed a thin stream of weariness. "I can't remember how to swim," she thought. "I can't remember." Yes, you can. Arms together, surge, pull back, flex. Arms together, surge, pull back, flex. The wave was on her. She reached upwards and grabbed a seaweed rope. As the water engulfed her, she felt unreal, as if she didn't exist anymore. "Nothingness!" screamed the voice in her head. "Is this what you want?" Something soft was looped around her neck. "Do I? I don't think I do," she thought. She hauled on the rope. Yoink! Rush! Rush! And slowly the throne began to move. From far away, an elegant, interlocking system of winches, pulleys, and carabiners swung into action. She didn't dare look down. Yoink! Rush! Rush! Then the wave left, rolling, as all waves do, towards its own non-existence. At the same time, with a single loud slurp, the marble inside her head sucked the weariness back up into itself and, without a fuss, shriveled up and vanished. "Unacceptable risk-taking," said the voice. "But you made it. To be honest, I'm kind of proud of you." She pulled the small, fluffy creature down from around her neck to look at it. She said, "I don't know who you are, and you don't know who I am. So I guess we're more or less even." The small, fluffy creature gave a yap and fluttered its wings. "Better hold on tight. Looks like we're in this together." Chapter 4. The Temporal Throne of Happenchance. Shin-yon jumped as a gaudy fairground chariot came barreling around the corner. It was being pulled by hundreds of tiny crabs, a large black one scuttling back and forth across the chariot roof. Shin-yon tried to make herself look inconspicuous. She was waiting at the waffle stand and feeling rather pleased she had escaped a whole day of play at your peril. Now it seemed as if play at your peril was chasing her, determined to involve her in whatever nasty pastimes it had in mind. She looked at the chariot nervously. A gossamer curtain was drawn across a high-up window, and behind it was a shadowy outline of a face. As she stared, a single finger parted the curtain, and a pointed fingernail rapped on the glass. "Breakfast!" squeaked Shin-yon, edging backwards. "It won't take more than a minute." "Really, Shin-yon?" said a voice from inside the chariot. "Whatever were you thinking? You can't simply swan off and disappear, you know." Shin-yon composed herself. "But it's my day off, madame. Remember?" "A day off, Shin-yon," said the voice, "is one thing. Using it to consume an excess of sugary treats is quite another." "You did say," Shin-yon's voice trembled. "You did. You said I could have a day off." "Waffles with double topping," announced a voice holding out a plate. "Waffles with, miss?" "Your order's ready, miss." "Yoink," Rush, rush. Her mind empty, like a bubble. Something around her neck. Wake up, you. Wake up. The puppy lifted his head from the cozy neck pillow, winched one eye open as if it were an effort, and then flopped back down again. Oh, hopeless. Dogs are for guarding things. Me, for instance. It's the least you can do. After all, I did rescue you down there. Yoink. Rush. Rush. Hey, puppy. She jiggled her shoulder. There was no response. The mermaid let go of the seaweed rope and opened her purse. Ah, yes, she thought. The unusually large lollipops. She thrust a pip in front of the puppy's face and wobbled it. Come on. How about a game of fetch? The puppy perked up his ears. That got your attention. Fetch. Now. She clenched the lollipop between her lips and spat it out through the water. The puppy's eyes opened. The seashell tail jangled and the wings flung apart. He pushed himself off and shot after the pip, yapping excitedly. Hey! The throne was lurching from side to side. Isky! Come back here, you naughty puppy. Don't you realize I... She gasped. Hang on a mo. What did I just say? Isky? I called you a name. How did I know your name? Why don't I know my name? Is it your name? The puppy jiggled his tail as he swam back to her, pip in mouth. Isky! The puppy's eyes brightened and his wings quivered. Isky is your name. The excitement exploded out of her. She grabbed another pip and spat that one out as fast as she could, straight upwards. Isky, go fetch. Isky shot up after the pip. Up, up went the pip, and up went Isky, straight towards the shadowy ceiling that loomed above. Thought sludge, someone had once said. A thick layer. Isky, no, wait for me. You can't go in there by yourself. The lollipop whistled into the canopy of thought sludge and vanished. The puppy hit the dense underside with a plop. He bounced back with a surprised look on his face, then scrambled up, digging furiously at the spot where the pip had gone in. Globs of black sludge broke off and drifted all over the place. The mermaid grabbed the rope. Oh, Isky, you have no sense of caution whatsoever. A dose of obedience school will sort that. Plunging down from the underside. As she got closer, there were jagged stalactites with vast nets slung haphazardly between them like hammocks. Brown foam oozed out of the nets. Discarded thoughts. Good ones, bad ones, in-between ones. Every abandoned thought dating back to the beginning of time. She heard a squelch and turned to see a disappearing tail. She reached up and prodded the underside, carefully with a finger. It was soft and blubbery, and her finger went right into the ooze. Feeling bolder, if the puppy did it, so can I. She punched her whole hand through it. With a here we go then, time for some pushy-shovey-inny, she hoisted the throne into the thought sludge. It was like swimming through squelch. I'll grab that dog, she thought, and give him a good telling off. Then we'll be up-to-daisy out of here. All around her was a jumble of long, vaporous shapes. She could see them wafting this way and that, in a tangle of ends and beginnings. Iski! Where are you? The sound of her voice caused the shapes to vibrate, and a few broke free from the tangle. Boris is abnormally afraid of the dark. Slapped her across the face. She squeezed her eyes shut. Boris? Who are you? Where are you? And then opened them. Gotta get a grip on myself. It's only a thought. A bank of vapours hovered above her. She hoisted the throne towards him. Thoughts can't hurt you, can they? Yoink. Rush. Rush. How'd you know it was my birthday? Brushed her on the cheek, and then she was smacked across the face by, carelessness will be your downfall. What's the point of a door if you don't go through it? And the spiny ones always snap. As she shook her head and tried to sweep the thoughts away, she bumped into Mavis did an excellent job sorting rocks by size. It was all a bit much. Had she been careless? Probably indoors. It would be best to go through every single one she came across, just in case. And who was Mavis? She wasn't sure she cared. And there was no sign of Iski. Yoink. Rush. Rush. Can you keep an eye on my handbag for a minute? Iski. One size fits most. Leather, rise, repeat. Poor Uncle Albert. Fancy not recognising that fish hook. Too many thoughts. But the more she tried to push them out, the more they oozed back in. The more they oozed back in, the crosser she got with them. Boris, get a grip on yourself. Mavis, it's common knowledge that rocks are sorted by colour, not size. As for Uncle Albert, next time, read the manual. Yoink, rush, rush. The whiff-whiff noise was faint, but she recognised it. She twisted around, and off to the left, she could see Iski playing tug-of-war with a whole heap of vapours. He pounced and grabbed, looking pleased with himself. The thoughts were obviously pleasant ones because the woof-woofs got louder and turned into woof-woofs. It was the silliest noise she had ever heard. She felt quite miffed, very miffed, that the dog was having fun while she was experiencing mental overload. Yes, obedience school, the live-in 3-day intensive. It is advisable to take a first aid kit when you travel. Drifted past, followed closely by, they can sting you if you're not careful, and it wasn't my fault. I only opened the lid a little. She pulled. It's advisable to take a first aid kit when you travel towards her. Then she tied one end of it around a cabriole leg. Holding onto the thought vapour, she pushed herself off in the direction of the woof-woofs. When she reached Iski, it was obvious that he was hungry because he had jelly gives you crinkles wound around one paw, and I wouldn't mind a third helping wrapped around the other. She stroked the top of his head and spoke in a soothing voice as, chia seeds are excellent source of fibre. Shot self-righteously into one side of her head and then exited, much to her relief, through the other. We can't stay here forever, she said. Jelly or no jelly. We're taking a chance, remember? And seeing what happens. Iski howled. The entire canopy of thought sludge tipped to one side. She felt herself slipping. I have to put a stop to this, she thought, or we'll end up as a filling in a giant thought sludge sandwich. She grabbed the dog and tugged. Assorted food thoughts scattered far and wide as she flew backwards, crashing against one of the glassy stalactites. Tell them to mind their own business. It was a huge, angry thought. Leave us alone, she yelled. Tell them to mind. I said, leave us a business. Bullies, she yelled. Waff, waff. Esky leapt on top of. Tell them to mind their own business, and grabbed it in his jaw. The thought flounced, and the puppy flounced. The thought killed. The puppy killed. The thought shot upwards, and so did Esky. A couple of tumbles and tell them to mind their own business, plus a handful of other bossy thoughts that had got in the way, lay in tatters. She watched the fragments float away, no longer thoughts but single words, and then not even single words but single letters. She reached out towards the letter S, a short distance away. Listen, Esky. Her mind was roomier, as if it had been spring-cleaned. Thoughts are only useful if they're your own ones. And a thought starts from a single letter. She flicked the letter S with her finger and watched it slip away and disappear. Which you make into a word. Any word that you like the sound of. Sparkly, for instance. Yoink. Rush. Rush. The oceans may have paused, but our adventure is far from over. Join Libby next Saturday at 9:30 a.m. as we continue exploring Ringlet and the Day the Ocean Stopped, by Felicity Williams, published by Ahoy, an imprint of the Cuba Press. Keep your curiosity alive and your hearts open, because the magic, mystery and wonder of the sea are waiting for us in the next chapter on Spin Me a Tale.